Radio, the African voice, it's all about you. It's the Unisa Radio debate. We're taking the argument forward. We have in the studio Professor Sipho Seepe, SRCs from Rhodes University TUT, as well as our very own University of South Africa. Now, earlier on the day, we took to the streets and spoke to ordinary students and to actually find out if they feel they are represented by SRCs. And this is what they had to say before we proceed with the show.
I don't think it's necessary to have SRC, because I don't know how they represent us actually, because the last time during their campaigns, they said that they are the reason why we have NS5, the reason why we have, like they said the things that you see, no man, actually, they are not the reason why we have these things. Certain things happens like during, like within the campus, you can be able to go to them and tell them, hey, this and that, it's happening, and they'll go and represent you. But I don't see that happening.
I think SRCs, it is necessary to have an SRC, but the thing is, they're not that effective. More especially in Unisa, containing its ODL. A lot of people, every student, even like myself, I only knew about SRC, not law. So they are not effective. So for us to have an SRC which is not effective, I think they have to maybe to market themselves so that the students can know them.
SRC is very representative, but complaining in a gore, and then also no grave the online module and stuff, and then are not the laptop. Malapa has one, so at least something like Bob say that thing at the PCL classes because it's already represent.
I think SRC is important for us because they help us when we have problems here at school through our finances and everything. So they assist us in all of those areas because we ourselves, we can't go to the office straight and complain and say, no, I have this problem and this and this and this because I'm not a leader, I'm just a student, so they can tell me anything that they want to tell me. So if he or she's a leader, then they are able to influence them due to our complaints. So I really think they're doing a great job.
I think the SRC doesn't represent me. I mean, there's so many issues that students go through, but I've never seen them intervene. The only time that I actually saw that we have organizations such as those ones, it was the time they were canvassing for elections. After that, they just went AWOL. So for me, I won't even bother.
I think personally, SRC hasn't put enough awareness to us, to most students, because I don't even know that there is SRC. I just see posters of it, but I've never met anyone who's actually spoken to me about what SRC does around the campus and stuff.
I don't know anything about the SRC. I don't even know them. So I will never say I went to them to need help. I don't know them, and I have never seen them. This is my third year, I don't know.
I don't think SRC is really necessary at Unisa, but to other full-time universities, yes, it is necessary. They do work, they strike for them, they fight for them. But at Unisa, like, I don't say it necessary because they can see that we're all full-times these days, we're all young, but there's no residence. They don't supply us with transport, but other universities, they even supply them with transport, but at Unisa, they just SRC with the offices. They're just enjoying their chairs at the offices. I don't see them really working because we work for ourselves. We do everything for ourselves at Unisa. It's every man for himself.
In terms of the SRCs or whatever they are, I don't think they affect me in a way. The SRC Students Organization, but because since, I started studying at Unisa last year and now I'm doing my second year. But I can't say that here's a tangible thing that, maybe it's because of me, I'm not looking. But I can't say anything and say, this is what they're doing for me, or this is what they're doing to help me improve this or that. You know what I mean? So basically, I just come to school, I leave, I do the same thing every day, and I don't see the point of them in my life or what they add, the value that they add to me as a student.
Yeah, that's what we heard here from the students there. On the Vox Popular Tweet earlier on the day to find out what their comments were as far as this issue is concerned. And let's start with you. You are a member of the SRC as far as Unisa is concerned, and a lot of comments are coming from Unisa students. They feel you are not visible, you're not talking to them. What are your thoughts on this particular, soundbite?
I think I must state that SRC is important. The Higher Education Act also affirms that SRCs should exist in institutions of higher. And internationally, students' movement have led public opinion, from the anti-Vietnam War to the youth of 1976 in this country that revolted against apartheid, and the recent Arab Spring. And in our universities, generally, I must say that there is a lack of political and social consciousness, and there is a serious decay of the cadre. And to some extent, I do agree with what students are saying, because now, if we are elected into the SRC, coming from various academic structures or political structures, when we assume governance, we must remember that we're no longer representing political structures, academic structures that we're coming from, but we are representing the student population of Unisa in general. Meaning that if there is a representative in the SRC coming from the DA, that SRC representative must be accommodated in the SRC. If there is a representative coming from SASCO, that representative must be accommodated. If there's a representative coming from the economic freedom fighters, if that representative has qualities that can ensure that the SRC goes in a good direction, then that particular member must be given a platform in ensuring that students' issues are raised. But now, sometimes we are SSRC members who are obsessed about partisan politics, forgetting that when we assume office, our responsibility is to ensure that students are funded. Remember that when NSFAS declines your application, it does not say, no, you are coming from EFF or you are coming from SASCO, the ANC. It declines you. So it is our responsibility that we ensure that there's unity of students going forward. But another issue that is of paramount importance is that the deepening social inequalities, poverty, and worsening unemployment deprive many of our students and student leaders their dignity and the possibilities of acquiring quality education and also leading students positively.
We'll come back to you. You are the president of the Central TUT leadership. You represent, sort of, so to speak, TUT at Soshanguve or in the Central. Mboniseni Dladla, do you feel that you sometimes lose touch with your electorate, with your constituents?
Definitely not, because we engage with students in all corners on a daily basis. As I speak to you, I have a trip to go to Polokwane campus to a mass meeting to engage the very same students. So this is an exercise we do almost every now and then as when the need arises. And obviously we do not lose touch because we represent what they want. Because I'm also a student. I know that sleeping in a corner somewhere in Sunnyside or somewhere in Bombena is not hailed, so they have to have a residence in those particular campuses. So the question of losing base will also be accompanied by to what extent this base, when you address their needs or when they know you or like your status on Facebook. So it's an issue of really what methods are you using to determine the kind of base you are referring to. But in as far as the mandate given to us since last year, August, which is to ensure that this, students get the appropriate accommodation, they get funding from NSFAS and all other bursaries, is what we are trying to do as the SRC, and we wake up almost every morning to engage external companies or external departments to assist the institution in providing such. So we cannot lose base for now because we have taken oath to represent students. But the principle we have is that when you represent students, we are representing a community. So the development of South Africa belongs to the heads of SRCs and those in government.
Brett, in Grahamstown at Rhodes University, do you sometimes, what's your take on this soundbite we just played? Students have mixed emotions about the relevance of yourselves.
I think it's more a question of how you relate to the students themselves. Like was previously said, that you communicate on online forums like Facebook and all of that. I think the traditional, the problem that we face specifically here, the traditional calling of a student body meeting, it doesn't have the same power as it used to have, which is quite interesting actually. We specifically as an SRC, we're looking into that and how we can create better forums and better platforms to get more student interaction and more students, just empowering them to have a better voice and the ability to even speak to us and understand exactly what SRCs do. Because an issue in the SRC, it's kind of a closed body, you know, in terms of students who don't want to interact with you will never understand exactly the processes and the kind of functions and protocols that you go through from a day-to-day basis. So it's very difficult, but I think the next step for any SRC is to make sure that they have a very strong online presence to reach every kind of student that they can. And I think that's the bottom line with the way social media and online new media is kind of taking the front of our, you know, the way we disseminate and create information and receive information. Our students' minds, and for any SRC president, I think at Rhodes it would be easier because it's 7,500 students, but I mean at UCT, for instance, where it's pushing 30,000. How is that for any of the 16 committee members supposed to interact with every single student within that 1 year term? You know, and I think that's another factor. Time is another big factor. If you're on the SRC, it's a 1 year thing, unless you are